Hi there everybody, and welcome to another challenging task. Now I'm really looking forward to this problem because we've got a nice little story to go with it. So hopefully you'll enjoy doing this one too. So the story for this problem starts a long time ago with a king called Sir Chancealot. So he wasn't an ordinary king in that he didn't like to take responsibility for big and difficult decisions. So instead of him taking responsibility, he made the decisions based on chance. And so if someone like a farmer came up to this king and said, "Look, Your Highness, I'm really sorry, but I wasn't able to pay my taxes this year. It was terrible weather, my crop failed, and we just didn't have enough rain. And so I've had to use every bit of coin I had left to feed my family." So the king would then need to make a decision about what to do with this farmer. Should he let him go free? Should he give him some extra time to pay back the money? Or will the king be worried that if he lets this farmer get off the hook, then will all the farmers start not paying their taxes? So the king needed to make a decision. And so he would say something like this to the farmer. "Good farmer, in a moment I will fill my chance basket with these chance cubes. And then, without looking, I will take one handful. If the handful I take has more blue than any other colour, I will give you time to wait and wait for rain, and hopefully your crops will grow and you'll be able to pay me back. And because I think that's kind, I will put many of the blue blocks in the basket. But if I take a handful and there is more red than any other colour, well then, even better, your debt will completely be forgiven and you will never have to worry about paying me back again. And so because I'm a generous king, I will take a large handful of the red ones and put them into the chance basket. But lastly, as a king I cannot have every farmer choosing not to pay me. And so, if I draw in my handful and have more yellow than any other colour, then you will have to pay me back immediately, or your lands will be taken from you and given to someone who can pay. But because I'm in a good mood, I will only put a small amount of yellow." So then the king would pick up the basket and he would give it a really good shake. And then, without looking, he would reach in, grab a handful, and then lay his handful down in the table in front. And as you can see, in this handful, there is more yellow than any other colour, which means bad news for the farmer because he's going to have to pay back the king straight away, or his lands will be lost and given to someone else. So, even though there was only a few yellow blocks in, the king seems to have got his way, even though appearing to be a very generous person. So, we're going to look at what was this king doing to help him get his way just about every single time. Now, to work out what this king was doing, we're going to need to have a closer look inside his basket. And there, as you can see, the king was tricking everybody the whole time because he had a smaller basket inside the bigger basket that he would fill with extra of the blocks that would suit him. In this case, the gold blocks. But you can also notice he put a couple of red and a couple of blue blocks in the basket too, just so it wasn't totally obvious that the king was getting his way. So, remember when the king put the blue blocks in, he tipped them all into the larger basket, except only letting one drop into the smaller basket. Just like that, if you can see. And then the same thing with the red. Appearing to be generous, he tipped all the red in, dropping just one into the basket. And then lastly, when he grabbed his small handful of yellow, he made sure he dropped all of those straight into the little basket. And so this brings us now to your question today. Now, King Chancealot didn't want to draw out a handful and have them all be yellow, because that definitely seems suspicious. So he wanted to have a little bit of red and a little bit of blue in there as well. So your question today is, how many blocks of each colour should he have put in the little basket so that he has the best chance of getting half yellow, 1/4 red and 1/4 blue? Okay, see how many solutions you can find, because the king could have even put many more blocks and had even bigger baskets of blocks than the ones I've got here. So how many different answers can you have that would give the king the best chance of drawing out colours so that half are yellow, 1/4's blue, 1/4's red? Alright, good luck. Just before I end the video, you might want to see if you can reproduce this at home and see if you can find two baskets that fit nicely in each other like I've got here. You could look around the house. Obviously you probably don't have blocks like this, but you could do the same thing with like Lego blocks like I've got here, or some beads, or anything else that you can use the colours for. You might even want to see if you can try and trick mum or dad and say, oh look mum, I think we should really get fish and chips for tea. Now, if I pull out more yellow than any of the other colours, I reckon we should get fish and chips. But because it's not healthy, I'm only going to put 4. Now, because I know you're always saying we should eat our vegetables, we'll put all the green in there as well. And lastly, I know you were going to cook some meat tonight, so I'm going to put some red in there to keep the same chance of that happening. And then you can shuffle it around, really make it look like you're not, it's completely random, and then go, oh, look like it's going to be fish and chips tonight.